The Old West of the United States was known for its lawlessness. It was a time when there were a lot of conflicts: cowboys, gunslingers, and outlaws. The European settlers, who were the primary agents of westward expansion, encountered a great deal of adversity. They had to push their way to the Pacific Ocean by driving the Native Americans off of their territories, and this was one of the challenges they faced. In the end, this disorderly atmosphere resulted in the creation of a society that was more prone to acts of violence and the breakdown of law and order. The American Wild West is a large region that is said to have a lot of treasures that have been lost to folklore. In the fertile areas to the Great West, the land has been the focus of many a treasure hunter who is on the lookout for lost treasures that are supposedly buried beneath the surface of the land. There have been many myths and stories passed down through the ages about lost treasures that were supposedly concealed in the Wild West. The lost mines of the Wild West are widely regarded as the most valuable of these fabled treasures. After the territory was expanded, in the year 1848, new settlers found something that would add even more flames to the already chaotic situation: gold, and lots of it. In search of riches, approximately 175,000 adventurers traveled from the east to the west. While some were unsuccessful in their attempts to acquire wealth, certain individuals were successful. And then there were those who, for one reason or another, managed to amass wealth just to squander it. Since the beginning of time, people in the American West have been obsessed with stories about missing treasures. Holden Dick's stolen gold. In the year 1881, on a gorgeous autumn afternoon in California, a freight wagon carrying a substantial amount of gold was making its way through the rolling hills of the state. The ore was being transported from Nevada to Sacramento, and there were 3 gun-toting cowboys standing guard over the wagon carrying it. But just as the jumbling vehicle was about to enter the territory of Modoc County, a lone and brave robber abruptly crossed its path and brought it to a complete and utter stop. After sneaking up on the wagon and killing the 3 guards one at a time, he ordered the driver and the other passengers to go as far south as their feet could carry them. While they continued walking, Mr. Dick climbed aboard the wagon, hitched one of his horses to the back of it, and headed in a northern direction. It is widely held that he buried his booty on the western faces of the Warner Mountains somewhere in that general area. For several years, the crime was never investigated, but eventually, an Indian person by the name of Holden Dick started trading in modest sums of gold. After he had spent all of his money in local bars and saloons, he would flee into the wilderness until he was able to get more. Following a period of several weeks, he would make his way back to the communities carrying a new supply of gold. Around that time, Holden was taken into custody for the murder of a guy who had been killed in a bar fight. As a result of the investigation into the case, the authorities were able to determine that the suspect was the same individual who a few years prior had stolen from the freight wagon. It is alleged that he hid the riches in a cave in the Warner Mountains. Nevertheless, Holden passed away in prison without disclosing the specific location of the gold to anyone. The long-forgotten mine of the Dutch Oven. The lost Dutch Oven mine is rumored to have been located in some parts of the state of California, making it one of the most renowned of the top 3 lost gold mines associated with the Wild West. The story that eventually gave rise to the myth of the lost Dutch Oven mine is told in several different ways, but the version associated with Tom Schofield is the one that is most widely accepted. Tom Schofield, a curious railroad worker, was going for a long ride through the Clipper Mountains located in the northwest region of California. During his ascent of the mountain, he came across what appeared to be an old Spanish settlement. Several rusted mining tools and a large Dutch oven were strewn over the area, and there were also several dusty pots and pans lying around. In addition, Schofield found a mine shaft that contained 7 human skeletons inside of it. After having spent the better part of the day investigating the camp, he decided to remain there for the night. The following morning, when he woke up, he stumbled inside the old Dutch oven, and all of a sudden, a mountain of glittering gold nuggets started flooding out. Tom accumulated as much gold as he could carry to Los Angeles in his pockets before boarding a train to travel there. He blew all of his money on going out and having a good time in the big metropolis. After eventually becoming clean and realizing he had no money left, Schofield attempted to return to the Clipper Mountains in search of the Spanish camp, but he was never successful in doing so. Since that time, not a single other person has been successful in locating the fabled Dutch Oven mine. The golden coins can be found in Bloody Spring. Throughout the history of the American West, there was a constant state of tense conflict between European settlers and indigenous peoples. The indigenous people of North America have had enough of the white man encroaching on their sacred grounds. Because of this friction, leaving and entering California became an extremely risky proposition for travelers. A train carrying settlers was ambushed and massacred by Native Americans at a location known as Bloody Springs on one occasion. There was only one passenger who made it out alive to tell the tale. He told the authorities that the train was carrying $60,000 in gold coins, but before he escaped, he saw the Native Americans toss the gold into the bottom of the Pitt River Gorge. He then lied to the authorities about the railway's cargo. Even in modern times, it is not uncommon to unearth a gold coin or two when exploring the region surrounding Bloody Springs. The cement mine that got away. The Lost Cement Mine is the second on the list of the top 3 mythical gold mines that were lost in the Wild West. A couple of travelers who had become separated from the rest of their party while they were traveling through the Sierra are said to have stumbled into the Lost Cement Mine. The 2 men came into a hard igneous rock that contained a significant quantity of gold close to where the waters of the Owen River first emerged. The rock that one of these 2 guys had discovered at that location was held by the other. A few years later, when the man was nearing the end of his life due to disease, he paid the doctor who was treating him by handing the rock to him and telling him the general position of where they had found the rock. The man ultimately passed away. How was the video? Do you like it? Post your precious feedback in our comments section below and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.